The story begins in a city in the United States where we see a train heading toward Chicago. Among all the passengers on the train, we notice a man named Stephen who suddenly wakes up from sleep. At that moment, a girl sitting in front of him says that she has thought a lot about what he told her earlier and believes he was absolutely right. However, Stephen finds this very strange and tells her that she must be mistaken because his name is Captain Stephen. Just then, a woman arrives and accidentally spills coffee on Stephen's shoes. The girl asks him if he is joking, but Stephen insists that he truly doesn't know her. At the same time, the ticket collector arrives and asks for their tickets. Stephen has no idea how he got on the train or where his ticket is. The girl shows the ticket and says they came together, so she doesn't understand why he is acting so strangely. Stephen begins looking at every passenger in the train. Then he stands up and tries to step outside. Meanwhile, a boy bumps into a girl and drops a paper. But immediately afterward, he takes a purse and exits the train to return it to a passenger who had dropped it earlier. Watching all this, Stephen steps out and asks the boy which station this is. The boy tells him it's Chicago. Stephen goes back inside the train and heads to the washroom to freshen up. But when he looks into the mirror, he is shocked. Although he is actually Stephen, the face in the mirror belongs to someone else. No matter how many times he checks, he keeps seeing a different man. Terrified, he leaves the washroom where the same girl is waiting. She asks if he's okay and introduces herself as Christina. Stephen tells her to stop calling him by another name because he is already very confused. Christina suggests he check his wallet. When he looks at his ID, he sees the same face he saw in the mirror. The ID belongs to a man named Sean, who is a teacher. But Stephen clearly remembers being an Air Force captain. While Stephen is still confused, a freight train passes on the nearby track and suddenly collides with their train, causing a massive explosion. Fire spreads everywhere, and all the passengers die instantly. The train is completely destroyed. Suddenly, Stephen wakes up in a dark room. In front of him is a monitor where a woman is speaking. She asks what he has been staring at for so long. Stephen asks who she is. She tells him to think carefully because he knows her. After trying hard to remember, Stephen recalls that her name is Colleen. She is pleased that he remembered. Stephen asks her what is happening because he was just on a train and now he's suddenly here. Colleen ignores his question and instead asks who planted the bomb on the train. Stephen says he has no idea. Colleen tells him he must find out. She explains they will send him back to the train again, but he will only have 8 minutes to gather information about the bomb. Stephen refuses at first, asking where his team is. But Colleen presses a button, and suddenly time goes backward. Stephen wakes up again on the same train, sitting across from Christina. The exact same events begin repeating, the girl calling him Sean, the coffee spilling on his shoes, but small details are slightly different. Stephen realizes he is trapped in a time loop and only has 8 minutes each time before the explosion happens. During one attempt, he searches the train and finds a bomb hidden in the last washroom connected to a mobile phone. He tries to communicate with Colleen, believing he is inside some kind of simulation. But there is no response, because the events are happening in real time within the memory reconstruction. Each time the train explodes, Stephen wakes back in the capsule where Colleen and a project director are monitoring him. They eventually explain the truth. Stephen had actually died months earlier during a mission. His damaged brain is being kept alive and connected to a technology called the source code. Using this system, his consciousness is linked to the last 8 minutes of memories from a passenger named Sean who died in the train explosion. By repeatedly entering those final moments, Stephen must identify the bomber so authorities can prevent future attacks. After several attempts, Stephen finally discovers that the bomber is a man named Derek Frost. Derek had deliberately left his wallet in the train to make authorities believe he died in the explosion. Stephen tracks him down and learns that Derek also has another radioactive bomb planned for a larger attack. Stephen manages to reveal Derek's identity and his car details to Colleen's team, allowing them to arrest him in the real world. After completing the mission, Stephen asks for one final chance to return to the train so he can try to save the passengers, especially Christina, even if it's only within the simulation. Colleen agrees and sends him back for the final 8 minutes. This time, Stephen successfully disables the bomb completely and arrests Derek inside the train. As the 8 minutes end, something unexpected happens. The explosion never occurs. Time continues moving forward, and the passengers remain alive. Meanwhile, in the real world, Colleen decides to shut down Steven's life support to finally free him from his painful existence. But inside the simulation, Steven and Christina step off the train together, alive and happy as a new reality seems to begin. And with that, the story ends.